In the previous part, we learned that we cannot understand a behavior by looking at only one dimension. Now, we turn to an even deeper question: what relationship might exist between what we experience, what we feel, and what happens in our bodies? This question belongs to the history of psychosomatics and has been studied from various perspectives by authors such as Alexander, Selle, Engel, Lazarus, and other researchers, although their models are not equivalent. And here, a particularly controversial perspective emerges: Reich-Geert Hamer's Germanic New Medicine. Hamer proposed that certain diseases could be linked to specific biological conflicts and developed the so-called 5 biological laws. Farrow examines this proposal but establishes a fundamental distinction: exploring the meaning of a symptom does not prove that the conflict is its medical cause. This distinction is essential, because it is one thing to ask, what was this person experiencing when their symptom appeared? And quite another to assert, this caused their illness. The former can open the door to a biographical and psychosomatic inquiry. The second requires scientific evidence. And here at Farrow, we are going to work with the first. The body has a history. Our body does not exist separately from our lives. We sleep. We eat. We work. We love. We experience loss. We worry. We get stressed. We relate to others. And all of this happens while our organism continuously regulates its functions. That is why contemporary psychosomatics studies the relationships between psychological processes, the nervous, endocrine, and immune systems, behavior, and context. This does not mean that it's all in your head. It means exactly the opposite. Mind and body are deeply connected. Key exercise: the timeline. Now, let's practice. If there is a symptom or behavior you want to understand, draw a timeline. Mark the following: when did it start? What was happening in my life beforehand? What major changes were taking place? How was I sleeping? How was I eating? What was my stress level? Which relationships were shifting? Were there losses, conflicts, or situations of uncertainty? Do not immediately look for a single cause. Instead, look for temporal connections and patterns. Second exercise: body and experience. Now, complete the following: my body is experiencing. This could be tension or relaxation, fatigue or energy, hunger, fullness or appetite changes, rapid or calm breathing, heart palpitations or a sense of tranquility, pressure, a knot, or a hollow feeling in a specific area, aches, pain or discomfort, restlessness or an urge to move, sleepiness or difficulty sleeping, digestive changes, feeling cold or hot. When this appears, I feel. This could be fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, frustration, shame, loneliness, relief, pleasure, a sense of security. I think, what am I telling myself in that moment? What is happening in my life? What situation, relationship, change, loss, demand, or worry am I going through? And my behavior changes in this way. Do I eat more? Do I stop eating? Do I work compulsively? Do I isolate myself? Do I seek approval? Do I get irritated? Do I avoid a situation? Do I seek immediate gratification? And finally, what needs attention? My body, my emotions, my habits, my relationships, my environment, or several of these aspects at once. It may be necessary to review habits, alter a relationship, or consult a professional. And sometimes, several factors may coexist. Observing is not the same as diagnosing. A physical sensation can have multiple causes. If it is persistent, intense, or worrying, it should be evaluated by a healthcare professional. First, observe what is happening, then ask what it means. Not every symptom has a psychological explanation. This is fundamental. A person can be stressed and have a medical condition. They can experience anxiety alongside an endocrine disorder. They can suffer from an organic illness and experience distress because of it. That is why we must never use the concept of psychosomatics to tell someone, your illness exists because you didn't resolve your conflicts. That breeds guilt and delays necessary care. A symptom deserves to be listened to but also evaluated. What can we learn from asking about meaning? We can ask ourselves, what does this symptom mean to me? Not what does it mean universally, but to me. What does it represent? What has changed in my life? What is it forcing me to stop doing? What am I doing to my body? What do I need to learn? What do I need to change? This exploration can become a tool for self-discovery. However, it does not replace a medical or psychological diagnosis. Pharaoh exercise, 3 columns. Create 3 columns, fact. What is objectively happening? Experience. What do I feel, think, and experience regarding this? Hypothesis. What interpretation am I making? That last word is crucial, hypothesis. Do not confuse an interpretation with the truth. This practice protects us from 2 extremes. Everything is psychological, and the mind has no relationship with the body. Human reality is far more complex and interconnected. Pharaoh, listening without blame. The body should not become a courtroom. We do not want a sick person to think, I am sick because I did something wrong. We want them to be able to ask themselves, what is happening in my body, in my life, and in my context, and what can I do responsibly now? That is humanization. Listening. Investigating. Treating. Preventing. Learning. Avoiding the reliving of trauma. Reframing it. And when necessary, referring and working as a team. Pharaoh question. The next time a symptom or behavior arises that you wish to understand, do not ask only, what do I have? Ask also, what is happening in my body? What is happening in my life? What am I doing? What do I need to re-examine? And finally, what can I do responsibly to care for my health? That is the spirit of the biology of meaning at Pharaoh, seeking meaning without confusing meaning with causality. Pharaoh insight. Listening to the meaning of a symptom expands self-awareness. It must never replace medical evaluation or treatment when they are necessary. Pharaoh quote. Listen to what your body expresses but investigate it with science and consciousness. And in the next part, we will explore the East. Get certified with Pharaoh. Study science with consciousness, because in health, knowledge is not neutral, is vital.